Honestly, I'm almost at a loss of words with this whole situation. The Pokemon Company and the Game Freak Defense Force are out in full swing. And I thought that console fanboys were bad as far as vindicating things within their consoles, but this is a whole nother realm. This is a whole nother realm of insanity. And I feel like it's something that strictly exists in an online infrastructure. I don't think it's necessarily a real world thing, but the defense of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has been baffling to me. And I'm going to talk about it because it's just my opinion on something. If somebody gets upset that I'm being negative about a game that they love, maybe they should look at the game they love and understand that there are core fundamental issues with graphics and performance and glitches that are completely unacceptable for a first-party game, a game developed strictly for one platform in 2022. Now, admittedly, I have played a lot of games over the years that are glitch fests that I enjoy. A game like Friday the 13th. Okay, that's one of my favorite games of all time, and it was a multi-platform release, a budget title from a smaller studio, of course, but that was a game that really had a lot of graphical issues. It had a lot of, some glitches within the gameplay and stuff, and I still had fun with it. I was able to admit that yes, it's not a perfect game. There are issues within the game that definitely hold it back, but that was kind of a part of the charm with the game. It was a small game from a small team with a small budget with the Friday the 13th license. And for what they managed to accomplish, I think they did a good enough job with it. But yeah, it was glitchy. It's still glitchy. It's always going to be glitchy. But we're not talking about a small multi-platform release. We're talking about one of the biggest releases of 2022 from a massive company that has been churning out games for decades. Some of the highest grossing, highest profitability games from an industry that's worth billions of dollars, from a consumer standpoint, with all of the things attached to the company that's worth literally billions of dollars, the highest grossing media platform of all time. And we're accepting these glitches as, oh, it's okay. It's okay that this game doesn't run great. It's okay that this game looks horrible. And that's ridiculous to me. That is ridiculous to me. The highest grossing media franchises of all time, Pokemon, $92 billion of gross, bigger than Mickey Mouse, bigger than Winnie the Pooh, bigger than Star Wars, bigger than the Marvel MCU, bigger than Spider-Man, bigger than Batman, bigger than Dragon Ball, bigger than Toy Story, the biggest. It is the biggest, highest grossing media franchise of all time. Yet, we're accepting these games that they release. And there's a whole multitude of reasons for the quality of this game coming to us from Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, and by extension, Nintendo. One thing a lot of people are throwing out there, the Switch Pro, the Switch 2 is trending on Twitter. This is not necessarily a Nintendo Switch hardware situation, I feel. Yes, would it probably perform better and be easier to optimize on other hardware? Sure, maybe. When you're talking about multi-platform releases on Nintendo Switch titles, usually the Nintendo Switch version is the worst version of the game. I get that. That's okay. That's not what we're talking about in this situation. What we're talking about is an optimized game that is only being developed for one system, that being the Nintendo Switch, from a long-running franchise that has not taken a graphical leap ever, really, ever. When you look at Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, they've been essentially making games for handheld platforms. Yes, they made some offshoot games. Yes, they licensed out things for like Pokken Tournament on the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. But as far as mainline Pokemon games are concerned, they've been developing these games for handheld systems that you could do things like hide more things. You have a smaller screen, you have a smaller graphical area to worry about. All right, you don't have to worry about things like HD resolutions and high frame rates and stuff. Although those games, for the most part, did have high resolutions and good frame rates for the systems that they were on, you could hide a lot more things. You were selling these games at $40 a pop as well. not $60, not a full retail price from the biggest grossing media franchise of all time. And there's been games that are open world that are on the Nintendo Switch that are way more graphically taxing, that look and perform a lot better. You can go back towards the launch of the system. Look at a game like a Skyrim. You're gonna tell me Skyrim looks worse than Pokemon, runs worse than Pokemon? Look at a game like Dying Light, which was a late Nintendo Switch port. Was this a rush job? Was this something that they just threw together over a weekend? No, there was a lot of love and care that went into that version on the Nintendo Switch, and it is a damn good port. I'm playing an open world game right now on the Switch that I'll be making a video on in a couple days, that once again, they put time, love, and effort into this game. And when you look at the companies that are behind those games versus a company like Game Freak versus a company like Pokemon, they have way more assets. They have way more knowledge of the hardware that they're developing on as well, because they only make games for Nintendo. But it's okay that this game has, I watched 8-Bit Eric stream some of this game last night, and in the open world segments, it literally hiccups and lags every few seconds when you're just walking, when you're walking around. Granted, when you get the bike, things just go to an absolute crawl. Like, there are huge gaps within the frame rate of this game. Pop-in is all over the place. Glitches are all over the place. Textures loading in, textures loading out. This is ridiculous for a first-party game that's only available on one platform with a huge budget. Now, MVG and Nate the Hate made a video yesterday talking about the whole situation from their standpoint. Obviously, MVG is a Nintendo Switch developer. He's been a game developer for quite a while. He understands how hardware works. They had some ideas about what was going on with this game. But one of the things that they brought up was the fact that, you know, Game Freak was probably rushed to make this game to meet the holiday season. Game Freak is constantly churning out mainline or offshoot Pokemon games for the Switch. And okay, is that a reason for this game to be in the state that it's in though? This is a company that generates billions of dollars of revenue. If you're struggling to do something with this, you can't reach out to Nintendo, you can't reach out to Bandai Namco, you can't reach out to these other companies, you can't outsource more help, you can't hire more people to help in this situation. What are we doing? What are we doing with the development of these games? These games should be right up there with games like Mario and Zelda and Metroid in terms of quality. In terms of quality, they should be right up there with the best of the system, because not only are they established franchises, not only are they franchises that have been around for a long time and have garnished millions and millions, and in this case, billions of dollars of revenue, but you're only developing it for the Nintendo Switch. We're not going to sit here and blame the Nintendo Switch hardware. Is the Switch hardware outdated? Yes, of course it is. Does it have core fundamental issues? Are we seeing cracks in the foundation of the Switch as far as these sales are concerned? Yes, we are. There's nothing wrong with admitting that. But to put the blame on the Switch for the poor performance of this game is laughable. This all boils back to the development process of the game and the way that this game was created and the rush job that they did with this. And it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. Yet, we come back to the biggest problem with this, is that honestly, this game is probably going to break sales records. This game is probably going to be one of the highest selling Pokemon games of all time because of the install base that the Nintendo Switch offers, because of the fact that it is a new mainline Pokemon game. So why is there reason for Game Freak and the Pokemon Company to change and actually emphasize quality on their titles? Money talks, man. As much as there's this contingent of people that hate that phrase and hate the fact that money rules the world, money rules the world. If you're doing something for money, you're creating a product, and the product continues to sell, you don't care about the fact that you're releasing a crappy product because it's still selling. There's a reason why. I mean, is McDonald's the top tier of food? No, but they're one of the biggest fast food companies in the world, not because of their quality of food, but because people keep going there. I like McDonald's. The McRib is God tier. Don't ever talk bad about the McRib. But that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. If the money keeps coming in, the contingent of people online that are like, hey, this game sucks. This is ridiculous. And, you know, it'll never change. And that's the biggest problem. There's no incentive to change. As long as the money keeps piling in, as long as you're having, you know, high sales of games, Metacritic doesn't matter. I don't understand this whole, we got, you know, companies that focus on Metacritic. Who gives a shit about Metacritic? It's about making money at the end of the day. A business exists to make money. And if it's making money, why are you gonna, you know, change up the formula? But at the same time, the defense force for this game is not looking at it from a business perspective. They're looking at it from a game perspective and trying to defend this game. Stop it, man. Stop it. If it was about game quality, this game should be right up there with some of the best Nintendo Switch games in terms of performance, in terms of graphics, in terms of pushing what the game is capable of doing. Look at games like Breath of the Wild. Look at Super Mario Odyssey. These games are high quality games. Games that sold well as well, but they're high quality games. This game is not a high quality game. This game looks and plays like an early access game. And it's a game from one of the highest generated companies, from one of the highest generated franchise of all time. And we accept it. We accept it. It's just like, oh, it is what it is. Because what can you do at the end of the day? What can you do at the end of the day? But the defense force needs to rest. It needs to stop. Admit that the game has problems. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to look bad upon you. If anything, it'll make you look like a better person because you can objectively look at games and realize, hey, this game has some major ass problems in it, and it probably shouldn't. And the more people that talk about it, maybe we can finally get some awareness to this fact. The Game Freak is a lazy company. That the Pokemon Company is a lazy company that is just churning out these games for money because they know that people are stupid and they're gonna buy them up. They're gonna buy them up and they will defend their purchase because they spent their $60. Game Freak and the Pokemon Company aren't defending their game. They're sitting silent because they don't have to. They have a whole army of people that will defend the game and the quality of the game. It's sad, man. It's sad. Don't blame the Switch hardware. Blame the Pokemon Company. Blame Game Freak. Blame laziness and blame greed. Because that's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. I don't care if there was deadlines and crunches and we got to do this, that, and the other. There's no excuse. You could hire more people. You could literally buy up another company to strictly make a quality Pokemon game and still be able to sleep on your piles of money like Scrooge McDuck. That's all I got to say about this, man. That's all I got to say. If it makes you upset, I don't care. I don't care. It's fact. It's fact. Look at this game compared to other quality Nintendo Switch titles that were only developed for the system. And if you can honestly look at this game and be like, you know, they gave it their all. They gave it their best effort. Then you're just blind. Catch you guys on the next video. Later.